So we did some content. I think we had some shorts that went out on social media about deposits. And I think I may have even shared one of the comments that we got, but it was some guy that was like, I'm a contractor, and if I don't get 70% deposit right up front, then that gives me a red flag, and I'm not going to work for you as a contractor. And I'm like, bro, how the are you? And I wrote him back just kind of a smart, thing just to say, hey, that's a good business model if you can do it. But how are there contractors that think they can run around and ask for 70%, 70 up front on a job?
Are they
and
actually,
there's people, suckers, I'm sorry, but they'll actually do that. I mean, that's insane.
Wow.
I would just, that's the biggest red. I mean, for us, it's like, listen, if somebody wants to deposit, if they want us to buy some material, or if we're going to give them money to actually buy material up front, maybe a little bit of mobilization money, a little bit. I mean, labor should pretty much be, our philosophy has always been, labor should pretty much be paid as it progresses. What's up, guys? We're back live in the studio in Hollywood for another episode of the High Stakes Deals podcast. And today we are joined by none other than Nick Rossi, fellow Italiano, builder, investor, real estate extraordinaire.
Yeah.
We're going to drop some bombs today.
Former tugboat operator.
Hey, here we go, baby.
A lot of stories there.
Segue. I want to know more about that. So how did you get into that side of the business? How did you get into
tugboating?
I had a buddy that was in tugboats. He was an engineer. And I was working on the docks. I got a captain's license when I was like 22 years old. I love being on the water. But there was no fucking money in it, man. It was like 75 bucks for a couple hours. You got like a job here and there. I was like, man, this sucks.
Oh, God.
So he's like, man, you'll make quite a bit of money if you jump on the boats. And of course, nobody wanted to hire anybody without like tugboat experience, except this one crazy company in Washington. And
they're
so,
like, you look like you can do it. Hop on this thing.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's like the shows.
Gives you a big noogie.
What are like all the reality shows where they're working like in Alaska on the fishing boats and shit? They just I see them just hire a bunch of random people. I hope you don't die today with these fucking cranes and waves. And
yeah. I actually worked with them. I did. I worked with those guys. Then I went up there, did the interview, and then worked 5 years in Western Alaska.
So what's that like? So you're up in Alaska, cold as shit, you're on the water, and you're just working, like 12-hour shifts or something out there, just killing it?
Just working 12-hour shifts, you get suited up.
What about, afterwards? Is there a little town? I mean, do you have...
What Greg's really asking is, can you go, are there girls and drinking involved at all? Are you just on a boat with a bunch of guys all the time?
I can look, but I'm married,
The first company I worked for actually was really strict about no alcohol.
Okay.
So we had to be very discreet about it because we never drank.
Yeah.
So you'd get off the boat, but most of the time we would spend like in transit. It'd be like 6 or 7 days in transit, and then you would be there for 24 hours just to unload the containers.
Do you go stir crazy being out there? Like not seeing land for a while?
I did for a while, man. There's like a lot of trying to like learn how to control your brain and understand your own like mindset on how to stay focused and stay busy. Because otherwise, you'll be stuck on the boat for 6-7 days. Like my first trip was to Hawaii for 14 days.
Wow.
Never been in the ocean like that.
It's like being out in space or something, bro. You're just like, okay, what's going on?
Well, when you get out there, that little machine that was like red and it was like a video game and the car was on it, but the map would pass the car.
Yeah.
That's how you feel in a tugboat because you're only going 7 miles an hour across the ocean.
Only 7?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
goddamn. They
you
can't
go
add a little
outside.
extra horsepower?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You go outside and the waves are passing you. So you're just like, oh my God, am I ever fucking going to get anywhere?
Wow.
Like you just watch the day ticker, and then in like rough weather, you see the little day ticker. It says 5 days to go, and then all of a sudden you go slower and slower, and it's like 12 days to go, and you go back to your room. You're like, fuck, I'm never gonna get there,
dude. That's crazy. So needless to say, jumping into construction and real estate and that side of the business made sense, I'm sure, at some point. You got a little burned out of being on the tugboat, or you just wanted to make more money?
Was that the real trend that you went from tugboat to construction?
It was, so I actually got injured on a tugboat and kind of watched a lot of transition with a lot of the guys that were working there, either injuries or things like that, and realized like this was an awesome fucking career. There's pension, there's all these things, there's great camaraderie, and the guys that are on those boats are true craftsmen. Like
Really?
they
work
take
their
their
ass
talent
off and they
there's some grit there, man. These guys work, we did 18-hour shifts here and there when we were coming into port. So like you build camaraderie or you build hatred towards each other, right?
Wow,
so like
it's one or the other.
Being part of the longshoreman union up there was very, very strict, and like we're gonna get the job done and we're gonna work through it.
How much do some of those guys make? So if they're a career, tugboat operator. Is that the right?
Yeah, tugboat. I mean, either deckhand, engineer, captain.
Okay. What are those guys? What's like the range of what they can make? Is it
I
a
mean,
good
like,
living?
yeah, captain will make 250 base pay, and then plus
Okay.
all of his other per diem stuff, and
Yeah.
and then an engineer will make 150 plus overtime and all
Okay.
the other
That's not
stuff.
bad.
And they're living on the
Yeah.
boat, so they probably
Yeah.
don't have to pay. I mean, I'm sure they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
homes somewhere, but
Yeah.
in theory, if you're living on the boat, don't have like.
I mean,
rent
they'll
mortgage.
have one wife and maybe an ex-wife
Yeah.
or something, so it can be
Yeah,
expensive.
or
yeah, they're
two,
sending
or
money
yeah,
off the
yeah.
boat, and they're like, "What am I
Yeah.
doing?"
Yeah.
Where's all my money going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how'd you make the move into construction and real estate? What was the transition there?
Yeah, so after being on the boats for a while, I got divorced. I spent about 200 days a year at sea, so off and
Oh,
on,
shit.
That must
between
have been
70
tough.
days
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was just like a little bit of draining as far as I'm missing everything. I'm missing birthdays,
Yeah.
friends. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, I'm kind of used to that shit anyways because
Yeah.
I work and whether I have my own business or not. So it was really easy to adapt the ability to shut off the outside world when it came to being an entrepreneur and
Yeah.
putting in the work that you really need to put in, because you
Yeah.
really need to stay defined on your goals, right?
Yeah.
And I made the shift around the time I got injured. I decided at that point, I'm going to lay it up. I'm going to take some time off the tugboats, because the worst thing that can happen is I'll go back to it. And
Yeah.
I know that I have
Yeah.
a career.
You got it. That
I've
is
got
the
a
plan B.
vested pension. So, I mean, I
They'll
can jump
always
right back into
need
that.
tugboats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually moved to Australia for about 6 months
Whoa.
Wow,
with a
down-
girl.
Down under. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Throw a
so-
shrimp
Went
on the
down under?
Barbie for
Yeah,
me.
exactly, man. So I took a little hiatus and traveled for about a year. So I lived there for about 6 months.
What
and
part? Like
traveled.
Sydney or?
Melbourne for
okay.
about 4 months.
Okay.
And then we traveled the East Coast for a couple months.
And what did you think about all that, Nick? I mean, did you have some really good experiences? Or
Man, it was life changing
Yeah.
because
Oh, it was.
I lived in San Diego, right, which is a very diverse place.
Right.
Moving to Australia, you realize like everybody that's Italian or Irish is literally from those countries, and so you learn like the melting pot, and then it's also a different government structure. I worked there for a month, and you get a superannuation and a
That-
retirement and taxes.
Huh.
And so every person that works there gets a built-in retirement, not out of your own check, but out of other.
the government's
Wow.
check or what? Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
and
the
so like,
employer.
yeah, the employer pays this portion part of the
like
government
a
as well.
401k kind of thing. But through the
Essentially,
government?
yeah, but every person.
Wow.
It's not like, oh, you have a high-paying job, you have this deal. Like I worked at a tire shop because I just needed I really saved enough money to be over there, but I
Yeah.
was going fucking stir crazy. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go find something to do.
Yeah.
So I worked there, and it was like a month, and I ended up getting $1,200 back when I moved back to the States
From
Wow.
from what they had
from
saved.
the retirement.
Wow.
I didn't know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't counting on it, and I got
Yeah.
it back, and I was like, I started looking into it, and I was like, damn, this is actually really nice.
Wow.
You know, they have
cool.
it set up for everybody,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was really cool. It was definitely hippie style. I
Really?
was not used to it. I was used
Yeah.
to like structure and
Yeah.
a job and a home and all these things, and
You're
then
just kind
it
of
opened up a
roaming
different
around
way of
and- yeah.
life. Yeah, so I got to see different people, different walks of life, and just kind of slowed down a little bit. I would
Yeah.
say I maybe wasn't prepared for that big of a transition to
Yeah.
being a hippie, but it was really incredible to be able to travel. We did,
Wow, that's cool.
yeah, Australia, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Fiji.
Wow.
Oh,
Went to a
shit.
few different countries, and it was a little bit of a pivot. I built a van on the
built
side
a
of the
van?
road.
Wow. You
So,
were,
like, I
you were,
bought
You were,
this
you were
van.
definitely a
Yeah,
van down by the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to what would be like the Home Depot there called Bunnings, and I bought some tools for a couple $100 and built out this little camper van because we were going to drive around Australia.
Wow.
And this is how life changes. About 2 weeks before we were going to leave and depart for the 14,000 kilometer drive, somebody fucking rear ends us after building this van.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, I finally got it
Totals it.
ready.
That's,
Yeah.
That's so
Totals
typical.
this van. So all of a sudden,
Uh,
life is just like, well, what the fuck are you gonna do now?
Yeah.
You're gonna buy another van,
Yeah.
or just
Start
like,
over.
or start over.
Yeah.
They ended up giving us like 12 grand for the van, and I bought it for $1,000 and built it out for a couple grand. So I was like,
Damn.
fuck it, I'll
I'm
take
starting
my
to
loss,
really
right?
like-
Yeah.
No
If that's
kidding, right?
This is
So-
Australia.
Good-
Yeah,
good
this is
business
Australia.
model.
Listen,
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out over here, Brendan.
We may,
Yeah.
yeah. Why
And
don't you
so-
go over there and let me know how it is in a
I
couple
will.
months? Yeah.
Well, maybe I won't call you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
it
mean-
ended up being cheaper to fly to different countries than to fly domestic in Australia because the flights were so expensive to get to Perth and all these other places.
Wow.
So within that $12,000, it allowed us to travel and lodge in most of these places for like about 6 months.
Damn.
Wow.
So it was a cool
That's
transition.
cool.
It was a cool
Yeah.
pivot, right? Like
Man.
I wouldn't have
How
gone
old
to
are you at
those.
this point?
27 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
right
That's a
around
good age to
Yeah.
be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good age to be doing that.
there. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, man. It was a little bit of a pivot. I actually, when I was doing the camper van build out, there was this gal from Malta
Okay.
Malta?
stopped me on the side of the road. She was walking her dog, and she's like, "Man, I really love those cabinets you're building. I've never built cabinets before. My girlfriend wanted these cabinets from pallets, and I was like, sure, whatever. She's like, yeah, I really love these. Would you be interested in doing a kitchen at my house? And I was like, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Fucking Brandon, that's how it started.
Yeah.
That's how it started. Somebody gave you a compliment on your work, and you just
And
fucking.
boom.
And I was like, okay, cool. And
so I
so
can make some money with this.
yeah.
And so then I gave her a bid, and we were actually towards the end of the time there, and she wanted it done, and I was like, fuck, we're getting ready to leave, like, but I'm not gonna turn the money down. I'm gonna give her a bid that's like good enough to stay.
What was the bid?
It was $20,000 to build this kitchen
20
out,
grand.
and it was like a big house. It's like a room share type of house. Like, so there's a big kitchen,
and then everybody
and
like roommates or something or whatever. They all have their own little
exactly.
bedrooms.
It was a really cool little setup. It used to be a grocery store. She had it converted.
Wow.
But yeah, we built out this whole kitchen setup,
Man.
and I was like, okay, cool. So then that's
Did you get your materials from Bunnies?
You want to talk about a mind fuck? Take the metric system that I've never used before in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how to say a 2x4, right? So they're like, what's a 2x4? And now I'm also going with different species of wood that I'm not used to.
Yeah.
So like I'm learning different species of wood. I'm learning the metric system on the fly on my own dime.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to figure out this whole thing and put together a material list. Not only that, here in the States, I can easily go find a supplier. I can find contractors or vendors. I'm like looking for this hardware and cabinet hardware basically and lumber at the Bunnings, and they're like, you're not gonna have that. It's like buying actual cabinet grade wood at Home Depot. You're not gonna get it.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to go to a specialty place. So I'm driving all over town trying to figure this out, but we get it figured out. It was like a hardwood that we used. We made shaker style. Used the router.
You take pictures?
Yeah.
You got pictures?
I do. I'll get them to you.
Greg's got a kitchen to remodel.
Oh yeah.
Well, fuck Nick, 20,000.
No, it's gonna be a higher price for you.
Yeah.
That was the Australia price.
I had no workman's comp or insurance.
Yeah. Well, okay.
No, yeah. So then that transition, I moved to Oregon. It was like kind of a landing ground after all of that. I had some family there. I was going to be there for about a month, and I met my mentor, Robert Richard.
Okay.
And this gentleman was a large multifamily investor. Bought a commercial building there and was hiring a maintenance guy. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be here for a bit. Let's have a chat.
How did you hook up with him, though, originally, Nick?
It was online at a job posting.
Oh, okay.
And so sat down with him in the maintenance office. He lived in Florida, and he's like, hey, I really need somebody to like focus on this building and help me get some things squared away. He just bought it. So 20,000 of the 30,000 square feet was vacant.
Okay.
He had a couple tenants. There was like an old doctor downstairs and some other people. And so he'd asked me like, hey, can you do some of the maintenance and watch this building for me? I'm going to live in Florida and I've got some things that we need to accomplish.
Nice.
One thing led to another. He wanted the building built out. So we got an attorney that was going to lease up the space. She paid $100,000 to do the tenant improvement.
Wow.
So he's like, well, do you know anyone to do it or can you do it? And I was like, I can do it. Let's do it.
You're like, look at these cabinets that I've been doing, okay? And a van.
You gotta pull out the picture. Yeah, here's my fucking cabinets.
Yeah.
Can
so,
I do it?
I built this like attorney's office, and I've never done metal studs before. I have a background of construction. My family owned a property management company in Oregon. We had about 1,200 units. And so, like, I've always been around this type of stuff.
But now you're doing it the first time for yourself kind of
at
thing.
Scale.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
So I brought some people on. I found a really good vendor that did drywall studs and metal studs and drywall. And they crushed it. And so, like, I worked with them. That first build out was great. Went really very well, excuse me. And then one thing led to another. We built out another 15,000-ish square feet.
Okay.
And he had a 2-acre parking lot. And in the interim of me doing this, he was trying to get permits done to build 60 units in the parking lot. And at the time, I got no relevance of this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what 60 units looks like. So he's like, hey, do you want to come with me? Let's go have lunch. We'll meet the architect. And I was like, sure, cool. So I put on some nice clothes and ran into that and like went to this meeting, and the architect's talking about all these like revisions
technical
and permits and technical.
You're like, yeah. That's
little did I know that was grooming me for what I was going to get into.
Yeah.
And I spent about a year with him.
With the architect.
Yeah, and it derailed our trip, and it was for good reason. Like, spending a year with this guy was a crash course of 5 years of education.
Wow.
And he took me under his wing. He paid well on all the things that we were doing, and we still have a relationship today. And I value that relationship very much so. And I actually ended up meeting another developer there. We did raw land entitlement. So we would
Raw
buy
land entitlement.
20, 30 acres.
Yeah.
My first subdivision was 250 lots. We ended up selling most of that to D.R. Horton.
There we go.
And it was like just this, like one thing led to another. Once you walk the walk, you can talk the talk, but you got to like kind of walk the walk before you know the talk.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
I
it's so
spent a lot
important.
of time learning on the computer, like going through the motions and learning what cap rate was and underwriting and,
Yeah.
square feet. And
But that's how it happens, right?
Yes.
Because people think that they're just going to like go do a course and they're going to figure it all out. But you got to learn through doing it. And I think being able to draft behind somebody that's already the old timer that's been doing it's like we had a similar thing, right? When we started with the gentleman named Ivano.
Yeah.
Same thing. He taught us development, land entitlement. It's
He
very
was,
similar
he was
story,
a big
actually.
land entitlement guy.
And, at the time, we weren't making much money working with them, but we got all that experience.
yeah.
Right. And that's what people, I think, have to realize is that, if you really wanted to like further yourself, right, and set yourself up for success in the future, don't be so quick to be like, everybody's in this day and age is like instant gratification, right? We all are. You want to scroll through instant, short attention span. But the reality is like, it takes a little time to invest in yourself. And if you do what you did and you learn the business, all of a sudden, now you're set up, right? Now you're ready to fucking rock and roll and continue the journey.
And I think you make your own luck too by just getting out there. I mean, look at Nick. He's going over here, he's going over there, but meeting all these people, doing all these things. It's like there's no way that you're not going to get lucky because you're just out there.
I think luck and opportunity are created by you. You create your own luck and opportunity by putting yourself out there.
Totally.
Like
yeah, because it's easy to meet someone, right? You could have met that guy and been like, whatever, right? But you leaned into it because you're like, well, this guy has all these apartments and he's doing these things. And he trusts me to build out this office and, look at what it did.
Yeah. I mean, it was a super great relationship and it was very fruitful in a lot of ways. And I took the education and even then, like when I moved to San Diego after that, I was there for about 15 months and moved to San Diego, started a construction company there.
Yeah. That's what was the first thing when you got out there.
That was the first thing. I started doing residential construction and I thought like at the time, I was like, I am going to be a real estate developer.
Yeah.
I knew at that point working with him, I was going to be a real estate developer. And the one thing I kind of got in the weeds about was, well, what if I can start a construction company and control the costs of the development myself? Right?
Vertically integrated.
Vertically integrated. Well, I didn't have, so there's like skill versus capacity, right? I have the skill to do all of these trades, but I didn't have the capacity to scale this business to a point where I can grow the company and now have this infrastructure behind me to be a real estate developer. So I had to cut my teeth. I had to like go in from this at a different angle, learn construction, learn systems, learn operations. And I learned the hard way. I mean, I failed the first few times. I got in issues. I did what every contractor does when they first start. I say yes.
Yeah.
Right? Can you do this? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Right. Why? Because I'm money motivated.
Right.
Yeah.
Now what I see as an indicator when I see contractors get in trouble is they say yes to everything.
Right.
If you say yes to everything, I immediately put the brakes on and I ask, what are your top 2 trades?
Right.
And if you give me your top 2 trades and you can have references behind those, I will accept that. But if you're a yes man to everything, you're going to put yourself in over your head.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the whole thing. I mean, contractors inherently will tell you what you want to hear to land a job.
Yeah.
And then they'll get into it and change order you to death or not show up or they'll lose money. And so it's very important that it's done right up front, that you ask those questions.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better for most contractors to, self-perform a big portion of the job or all of the job or a lot of contractors like paper GCs, right? They just sub everything out. But if they have the right system, that can work too, that if they have the right subs. But what do you think the best way to approach it is usually?
I think a GC, a paper GC, should always have W-2 employees that work within the parameters because you do
journeyman,
have
foremen, so a couple people that can do pickup work and stuff.
You need to have, there's a difference between a superintendent and a foreman, right? And depending on the scale or the size of the project, if you're in the 6 figures, you need to have a foreman on site that physically knows how to do the work because they're going to spot the issues before they arise.
Right.
The superintendent is the one that paper forms everything and understands the schedule, relays to the project manager. These were what all these percentages are built out for, right? And then they have their tradesmen and they handle the overlap in the schedule for the drywaller to come in, the framing guy to be finished and who does what and who it's a lot of managing like personalities too,
Yeah.
right? The drywall guy didn't fuck up the framing guy's straight, and blah 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 blah, right? And so the superintendent kind of like mellows that out, and the foreman makes sure it's right.
It's right. Like the foreman, if something happens on the field, on the project, they can fix it right then and there.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for somebody else to get that answer.
Exactly.
Your foreman should be the one correcting it.
And if you don't have W-2 employees as a paper GC, you're going to find yourself in trouble, because when you get to a project, you're going to end up with piles of debris.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you can ask your framer, hey, I need you to use the dump trailer or
But
the
they
drop
never,
box.
yeah.
They never fucking do
happens,
it, man.
dude. Yeah.
And then there's these overlaps or these small little sections that need to be done.
And if you got to call a guy or a sub for every
Mhm.
little thing, then it's going to cost you a ton of money.
Yeah.
You're going to be behind on schedule again. You got to have a pickup guy.
Just
You
like
gotta
the
have some of
daily
your own people.
cleanup
Yeah.
of the site.
Where do you think the construction industry is going? I mean, we're in 2025, almost 2026. AI is a big thing. You know, you got companies 3D printing homes, and I mean, where do you see the construction industry changing or evolving over the next 5 years?
I think the office of everything behind the scenes on underwriting is growing vast, and the construction companies are never going to catch up if they don't learn operations and systems.
Yeah.
The biggest fall down, and I see a lot of contractors make, is they're the yes man, right? They're going to say, hey, we're going to do this, we can do this, we're going to do this. You, for instance, the investors, like on the long run, like I've got 50 units, I've got all these things I can do, and you want to bank on your contractor being able to complete all of that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if there's a contractor you like, not only in your own company to grow your systems and operations and your project managers, likelihood is the guy that grew from the skill and like the trades probably doesn't know how to grow a company.
Right.
You know, he's really good at what he does, but he doesn't necessarily know the infrastructure, the bookkeeping, the how to keep your guys on track, and how to manage your crew and scheduling and software. Well, that's okay, because just like any other deal, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to invest in an apartment, you have sweat equity or financial equity. It's one of those two or nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to have both of them. Well, it's
I'm
the
still
same
wondering
thing.
what Greg brings to that, but go ahead. Yeah.
The looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Go look at
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So if you have the ability to be really good at the skill, it's probably worth investing a little time to help or coach them on how to grow and scale their own construction company.
Right.
If they don't know how or don't have the partner. Because if you can grow your company while growing somebody else's, and they got a project manager and they can, you know, continuously go to bat for you and they're hitting timelines, it's worth allowing that like grace to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to continuously see all of these contractors that are the yes man. They're going to jump in, right? They're going to get the project started, and then financial burdens arise, because most contractors don't know how to manage money.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
They
so,
know how
yeah.
to manage
Yeah.
the skill or the trade,
Yeah.
but now they have $20,000 bills coming in. Their employees are running over on payroll. And all of a sudden it becomes this like scarcity issue. And then you're going to start seeing change orders and delays. And then the biggest issue I find is they're going to be spreading themselves too thin between different projects.
100%. Because now
Yeah.
they're getting behind on one project. They want to get more work so they can kind of start making
Then
it
they
all work.
live
Yeah.
on this vicious cycle of deposits. And when you see
Yeah.
a contractor living on deposits, it's a sinking ship.
Yeah.
So we did some content. I think we had some shorts that went out on social media about deposits. And I think I maybe even shared one of the comments that we got, but it was some guy that was like, I'm a contractor, and if I don't get 70% deposit right up front, then that gives me a red flag, and I'm not going to work for you as a contract. And I'm like, bro, how the fuck are you? And I wrote him back just kind of a smart ass, thing just to say, hey, that's a good business model if you can do it. But how are there contractors that think they could run around and ask for 70%, 70 up front on a job?
Are they
and there's
actually-
people, suckers, I'm sorry, but
They're
they'll actually
giving
do
it to
that.
them?
I
Yeah.
mean, that's insane.
Wow.
To me. I would just,
Well,
that's the biggest red. I mean,
Yeah.
for us, it's like, listen, if somebody
Yeah.
wants a deposit, if they want us to buy some material, or if we're going to give them money to actually buy material up front, maybe a little bit of mobilization money, a little bit. But I mean, labor should pretty much be, our philosophy has always been, labor should pretty much be paid as it progresses. I mean, I understand that there's a little bit of a happy medium. You want to get someone started, but we've been burned many times too. You pay this a huge amount of money up front, and then shit's not happening, and then what's stopping them from just walking off the job?
Yeah.
You got to fuck
It
around with
slows
chasing them,
way down.
hiring someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be, kind of in conjunction with what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I look at it.
So I think what's nice is I've had an opportunity and fortunate enough to be on both sides, the investor as a real estate
So you can
developer
kind of put yourself in both-
and
yeah.
contractor. And the one thing that I see is a pain point for me as a developer is liquidity as bandwidth.
Yeah.
Right. When you see a contractor request large amounts of money,
Mhm.
it's likely he's got liquidity issues
Yeah.
and he's going to use you as a bank, not a customer.
Yeah.
Right.
And so in the state of California, it's kind of funny because in the commercial world of construction and larger dollar amounts, you really do need the money up front to get things going. But in the state of California, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
That's the deposit that you can collect
That you can
upon
collect.
signing a contract.
Wow.
No more.
Is that residential or commercial or both?
That's in general.
In general.
The contractor state board says you
Yep.
cannot collect more than $1,000
Upfront.
upfront
Wow.
unless material and labor have been furnished.
Right.
So that
But these
means
guys
that
are
the
skirting
labor
around this. Right.
So you're skirting around it. However, I'm not going to go buy $100,000 worth of tile for you on a handshake and a contract because an AIA is only enforceable to the homeowner or the customer.
Right.
The contractor is not necessarily able to enforce an AIA contract, right?
Yeah.
The contractor is required to go to mediation, which means mediation is settlement. So if you are the investor or customer, you can just stop tomorrow. So it's wise for the contractor and the customer to align very clearly on how that money is distributed. So if you're going to say, hey, I need you to buy X, Y, and Z, have a backing on that draw schedule.
Right.
One thing that I always ask all of my contractors is I want your bid and your expected timeline with a breakdown.
Yeah.
So, and that requires a draw schedule.
Yeah.
Draw
So-
schedule, schedule values. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I don't see a draw schedule and an expected timeline, there's no point to move forward because they don't understand it. Or maybe they just don't have the time to break it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, that's also aligning. If I'm getting bids for 3 different things, right? And for drywall, I get a bid for $10,000 and it's a week. The other one's $12,000 and it's 3 weeks. And the other one's $11,000 and it's 4 days, right? The 4 days and the 7 days is probably pretty close, right? But the other guy's like way the fuck off.
Yeah.
So how do I realize which one's closer?
Yeah.
And I think the timeline with the dollar amount is the fact check behind it.
Yep.
That's
Because
true.
now the experience shows on this many sheets, I can charge this much and it takes this much time.
Yep.
Right.
That's
So
cool. Yeah.
And that's really how you have to approach it. I mean, the devil's in the details, and it's cliche, but the reality is, if you don't take the time up front to go over this stuff, and, we all know how it is. Like we have projects where you have the best intentions, the best plans, but then you get in the field and you have to scramble to get a sub out there or whatever. So you're like, okay, call a painting guy or call a plumber or whatever. And you kind of take a flyer on somebody because you're like, shit, I'm up against the wall. I got to get this done. Sometimes it works out, and sometimes you kick yourself in the ass later and go, damn it, I should have spent the time up front and got the right information.
Live and learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I spent on a project, and I think right now I got to make the decision, and I really could have waited 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And then
true.
you put yourself in this pinch situation.
Yeah.
Construction is fire drills. That is
Yes.
all it is.
Yes.
Every fucking day, all day long.
Yeah.
I have never dealt with something. It's like dealing with escrow.
Yeah.
Right? When
No.
you're in escrow, whatever comes your way has to be handled now.
Yeah.
There is no decision to be like, fuck it, I'm going to handle it
Yeah,
later.
That's a good
right?
analogy.
Yeah.
In construction, it's the same thing.
Same
All of a
thing,
sudden,
yeah.
this decision needs to be handled
Yeah.
right now. You got 12 guys waiting on you, and that needs to be picked up, and that needs to be
Yeah.
ordered, and this needs to be delivered. And that 10-minute fire drill is now resolved the whole day. Right? So from 7:30, in my opinion, from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. is your fire drills.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right?
Okay.
That's when
Yeah.
it happens.
My wife
That's when
cracks up
everything
all the
gets
time because
handled.
my phone's blowing up from like 6, 7 a.m. and it's
Yeah.
always that. It's always the construction calls come in first, and then all day it's the fire drills, fire drills, fire
Yeah.
drills.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. And like you said, that's why that's how a project is successful.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be on top of those and pushing it along every single day.
Yeah.
Because it's a grind until it's done.
Yeah. I mean, and it takes a certain individual to want to dive into construction and investing and value add projects,
Very
right?
interesting. Yeah.
And it depends on scale. Like, you want to take a project and turn it into something more valuable. I see people all the time. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy a fix and flip, and I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be really worth it, and I'm gonna make a bunch of money."
Yeah.
But you work a daily job.
Yeah.
And you don't know the first thing about construction.
Yeah.
I'm not saying because I want your money and I
Yeah.
want you to be an investor. I'm just saying I want you to watch out from failure.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Maybe there's more to it, and there's like a whole defined industry of people that spend all their time
Yeah.
in doing this. And there's probably some value into partnering with somebody to
Right.
do it first.
That's a good-
or
yeah.
if you want to make, teen digit returns, pay somebody else to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a possibility you can make returns that are healthier than spending your own headache doing it.
And then kicking yourself in the ass later when it doesn't go as you thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
Yeah, I was
down
gonna
in the
ask.
business, because I think you just built something. You got some things you're building. I think we just saw that badass house that you redid. Tell us a little bit about some of those.
So, I mean, that's all in part of becoming, I guess, more in the real estate development.
Yeah.
You got to build liquidity and cash, right?
Yeah.
And so, in part of that, I do flips and I find other ways to make money outside of my construction company.
Yeah.
As I grow the construction company, I put a lot of money back into it.
Yeah.
So pulling, large sums of cash out of it doesn't really make sense. So doing a flip, I can control that.
Yeah.
I generally don't intermingle the crew that does the flip with my daily business. The opportunity cost is too great for my crew to be at the job sites.
Okay.
So right now we're building cash to go more into the development side.
Yeah.
My next project's going to be in either Point Loma or Ocean Beach. We're going to do 4 to 6 units, something in that range. I'd love to get in the 5 to 6 unit area. Quality asset, kind of townhome style with garages. I have a desirability.
You're building for yourself. Right?
This is what I'd like to do.
For somebody
And you would
else.
keep these or sell them?
Yeah. What is your exit?
I would like to keep them, but in order to keep them, I'm contemplating doing condo plat.
Okay.
So that way, the opportunity in a few years, I could sell a couple of them and retain it, pay for the construction cost, and have those free.
So for those that are listening, so he would map it, is what they call in the state of California. You'd map it as a condo project. Now he could keep them and rent them initially, but if he has, say, 6 units, if he decides he wants to recapitalize and get some of his money back or pull some of the profit off the table, he can sell half of the 6 units or sell 2 of the units.
Because they each have an APN.
And you got to do that up front, right? You can't build it as a strictly rental deal. And then, I mean, you can go back later, obviously, but it's much easier to do it up front and get it mapped right out of the gate.
Right.
And you want to wait 10 years. Because
that's true.
There's a wrap policy that's involved.
SB 800? I don't know. What is it? It's basically in California, when you do this, you have a 10-year liability tail. So people, if you're going to sell them as condos, they can come back within 10 years and knock on the door. The window's leaking, the roof's leaking. This, that.
And there's attorneys that chase.
There's
those
attorneys
deals.
that just chase these deals, and so you got to have the right insurance or wrap policy to do it.
Yeah, and it's expensive, but I mean, at the end of the day, the quality asset is really what I'm looking for. I mean, you look at these projects, and everybody's looking at time. Because time is money, opportunity costs. You look at in Europe, all these things that are built in Europe. Nobody was cracking the whip to be. I mean, there was probably things like the Duomo that maybe was, but at the end of the day, you're looking at timeline. I'm looking at like a quality asset, and there's tons of guys that are doing this with really, really nice buildings, but I don't have like this rush to go in and do this. Like I want to build a quality asset that will be there for the test of time.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking to do, is to take flip money, hard-earned, capital basically, and turn it in, and then
to a developer.
Add and trickle in investor capital at the same time. Because in my opinion, I always like having a little bit of my own money in something.
Yeah.
At this point, it just kind of helps, and there's like pain points, and you can raise capital, but there's a lot of requirement of direct capital that runs a project in the soft cost.
People don't realize that. Yeah. Even if you're going to be a sponsor and raise a bunch of money, you got to have some cash around you. And we do something very similar, right? We're real estate brokers, so we get commissions from some of our real estate clients. We do flips, and then we have our apartment business, and then some building development. But it's all the same type thing, right? You have part of your business that's bringing in fees or income, and then you have another part of your business. You're basically pouring it back into that to build the longer term wealth. And so it really does work out nicely. It's hard if you're just going to go out and just try to raise money and buy a bunch of deals that might take 10 years, whatever, to really make something happen. You got to have still some income coming in to pour it into things.
You do.
That's what actually drove the reason why I got out of general construction and went into the niches.
Yeah.
Because they say the riches in their niches, right?
Yep.
I went painting, and everybody thinks painting. Why the fuck do you do painting? It's boring as shit, right?
Yeah.
Paint white on the wall. It's not. It's scalable. Look at how many tools are on a painter's truck versus a carpenter's truck. Right?
Yeah.
It's a possibility. Not only do I think it's a easier scalable trade, but I think when somebody's really good at what they do, they take more pride in it. So if you can teach somebody in a course of 2 years to be really fucking good at what they do, they're going to take more pride in it, and they're going to work really hard. My guys travel all over. We have 5 different states that we work in.
Yeah.
Your painting
business. What's the name of the painting business?
Rossi Development Inc. is actually the
Rossi Development Inc. You guys heard it here.
Yeah. And so we travel all over. We do specialty coatings, and we also do like larger apartment complexes. But what we have done since then is we've branched off. So we have some partnerships with Dixie Line and BFS. We do a lot of the framing and window and door install. These allow us with these quicker cash conversion trades to be able to put money in a pocket.
Money. Yeah.
Because you don't get to reconcile the books on a construction project until it is done.
Yeah.
Right? So you might have these big dollar amounts on a general construction project. I'm going to go remodel this beautiful fucking home or these apartment complexes. you don't necessarily know what you have until it's over with.
Yeah.
You have projections.
Yeah.
Right.
And as we know in construction and real estate investing, projections are the hypotheticals that
Yeah.
we look for.
Yeah.
And we always fall somewhere pretty darn close to that
Yeah.
if we're good at the analysis. But at the end of the day, for me as a construction guy, I'm looking at the fastest way that I can reconcile those books and find the profit and go to the next job, because the quicker cash conversion, the more it's in
Right.
my pocket. So finding the ability to do that is not hanging on to a 9-month project. It's making that same amount of money within 2 weeks.
Right.
So the profit
Smart.
margin of a 9-month remodel
Yeah.
is actually the same as a 2 to 4 week project in painting,
Yeah.
because I mean, 9-month remodel, let's say it's $600,000. Well, what's 30% of that?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I can do a $300,000 paint job in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
It's true.
you know,
That's smart.
it matters on like what you want to convert it to.
Well, let's talk about, because I'm really interested. I know that you're also involved with Airbnb. I know that you're linked up with the GOAT, Rich Summers.
Hey.
And shout out to Rich. And you're doing, you know, Rich is obviously a big hotel guy. You're doing, I think you're part of his program. What do they call his program? I think he has maybe a couple programs. The one
Yeah,
you're
he has a
involved with.
7-figure
master.
creator and the hotel mastermind.
Okay.
Summers Capital, yeah.
And so you're doing that. So yeah, walk us through some of the hotel, the Airbnb side. Where's your interest there? You know, what do you got going on right now as far as the Airbnbs and?
So a couple years ago, I got into remodeling hotels.
Okay.
You know, compounding, right? Room after room,
Yeah.
scalable model. And then I started seeing him in the multifamily side, because that's kind of where I started
Yeah.
from, right? And followed him from the multifamily takeoff. I saw that he was growing a community
Yeah.
in 2 similar fields that I was looking for. And I thought it just kind of made sense to get in this group, in this community, not only the opportunity for deals, but also as a contractor to customer. Right. Being in the right rooms with these people is everything.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to
Yeah.
grow. Just
Yeah.
like we discussed earlier, finding the people that are already doing the thing that you want to do is the fastest way to you to get there.
Yeah.
Why do you think more people don't get a mentor or pay the money to get in the right room or go to the event or pay for the real estate club or whatever? What's holding people back, do you think, from doing that?
People are afraid to consider buying friends.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not to buy a friend or buy a community. Yes, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, whatever it might be, seems like a shock, and you're like, "Fuck, I got to pay that much just to be in a community."
Yeah.
And there's always in the back of your head, you're just like, okay, am I getting ripped off? Am I going to get the
Yeah.
value? Da, da, da.
Are these people genuine? Are
Yeah.
they just trying to go out for the money?
Yeah.
Like, look at it as a community and a growth aspect,
Yeah.
right? Like, what are you going to learn from being in a room with somebody otherwise you probably would have no fucking opportunity
No
to be
access
in,
to.
right?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to go hang out with people that are making $10 million a year by just like walking up to him at the coffee shop?
Right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how many times
Yeah.
do you go, "Oh man, I wish I could pick your brain"?
Yeah.
You actually get that when you pay $5
Yeah.
grand,
Okay.
15 grand,
You-
whatever it might be.
You said, what was that comment? You said, Nick, the velocity, something about
Yes.
the velocity is
The
your
velocity of your
connections.
network is the growth and how
Right.
you get there.
Right.
100%.
Right.
No, I mean, we're huge. We talk about it all
Totally
the time on the
believe
show.
that.
Big believers
Yeah.
in mentorship. And we got a big event coming up February 28th,
Yeah.
actually, which is going to be really cool.
But you never know. You
but-
never know who you're going to meet and what opportunities.
Yeah.
But you got to get out
By
there.
the way, that's how we met you. We went to a Rich
Yes.
Summers event, right?
Yeah.
And now we're doing a podcast. We stayed in touch. We're talking about some other business. And I mean, but that is how it works. Rudy, tonight we're
Yeah.
going to his Christmas party.
Yeah.
We met him, you know,
Oh, yeah.
through the
Trying
same
to get
thing.
out of it,
Yeah,
Nick.
Greg's trying to flake on us.
You guys got a
love
couple
Rudy.
things to go
We
to.
got a few
right?
things. Yeah.
Houston might get skipped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
you, Rudy, but yeah, I'll make it.
But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I always talk about it, like in my 20s, I was so like focused on being like at the office all day, and I felt like the way I was gonna make money was just making more cold calls and being at the computer, and I wasn't really leaning into like getting mentorship or going to events.
Yeah.
Even though I've always been a very extroverted person, I was just like, nah, fuck that shit. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I got to be in here doing this or on a job site, right? Just doing whatever. But I think what we've learned in the last couple of years, we've started leaning into the social media, the events. We've paid
Yeah.
tons of money for mentorship, and we're still doing it, you know, from all kinds of different people. And dude, like, look at all the doors that have opened up for us. And so
100%.
we're
That's
huge believers in it.
You don't know what you don't know, and that's why getting out there is just going to change everything for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about knowledge, being with these people, and then they kind of like open the opportunities the more you get to know somebody
Yeah.
of like what's in their repertoire, like what do they do for
How
a
are they doing
living,
it?
You're
What are-
absolutely
yeah.
right.
and you never know what you're going to connect on, right? Like
Yeah.
it might not be today, but it could be in 2 years after you form this relationship
Yeah.
that, hey, there's a deal that we're going to join on, and it's going to be very fruitful for both parties because you've got the trust level, right?
Yeah.
That you've acquired over the time being in the network. And then now you've got the vetted proof on what you've seen them do over a course of time.
Yep.
100%.
Yep. And you're in their Rolodex. Yeah.
How important do you think social media is today if you're trying to build a business? To be out there doing podcasts like this. We see all your videos on your job sites. By the way, great job with all the content lately.
Thank you, man.
I love all that stuff. I mean, how important is that? I mean, it looks like you've drank the Kool-Aid as well, and you've really leaned into it.
Yeah.
Was that a new thing for you, or were there any struggles you went through to say, fuck it, I gotta get in front of the camera, I gotta start doing this?
Yeah, there's like an expense behind it. Like the one thing you got to realize is what are you going to do with it? What is your focus with social media? Is it just to be out there? Is it to show customers or somebody what you're doing for a living? Is it just to show your life? And then, like, for me, when I started doing it, I was just kind of showing everything that I was doing. There was no real focus. It was like brand recognition, I guess, what people consider it to be. For me, it really is everything, but you got to find a way to compartmentalize that. Like, are you a business owner? Do you have the time to do it yourself? If you don't have the time to do it yourself and do it with the right intention, hire somebody to do it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to spend all day editing pictures and
all
videos,
of a sudden now you're full-time social media guy for yourself, and you're like, wait a minute, I actually have a business to run.
Yeah, this last 3 hours that I took to choose a fucking song, right, to go with this picture
I was
story.
trying to do the John Hamm video last night. My wife was cracking up. So I'm like, how do I fucking splice this thing and get this video? And she's just like, oh my god, and she helped me. But
and then it's like $25 on Fiverr to have somebody do this video. And you're like, damn it. Okay, so I could have spent better time and money. So yeah, I think it's everything, man, especially for your network. Just find the way to show what you want to do and be authentic about it, because the more you're authentic about what you're doing,
it comes across.
You're just going to have better retention, because if you're out there like selling shit, like, oh, look, buy my course. And I don't know how many courses come across Instagram. That's like,
all the time.
Do you even do what you're selling?
Right. Have you ever even done one deal? Yeah, exactly. It's like my dad was teasing me because we're doing this event in February, and he was teasing about, oh, you're the next Tommy Vu. I don't know if you remember Tommy Vu. He was this guy in the 80s. He was like, come to America, become rich like me. And he's always on a boat with like all these models and shit and selling courses. And you got Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is really cool. But, I mean, the point is like, there are a lot of people out there that kind of just talk about it. But for me, it was like, when I saw what Grant Cardone was doing, that was what really kind of got me thinking about it, right? And then everybody else he kind of paved the way for, and now everybody else that's, lean into it. But I think you're right. Like, you got to know certain people are authentic and actually have a track record, and certain people don't. But that's why it's important to get to the events, talk to the people, make the connections, and you start figuring out, who are the right people you should get involved with.
I mean, there's one thing to have just tailored videos all the time, scripted, very clean, but there's also some like benefit in having just quality, authentic about your life, right? You guys are posting about your life as well, and it shows connection to that you can be kind of understanding that there's a relatable aspect to you. You're not
I need
just
to do
like,
more videos, just like talking shit about Greg. Greg, here's what Greg did today at the office that really pissed me off, guys. I want to be vulnerable in the moment. Okay, I'm going to share this story with you.
That would take you a long time.
I would never get off the phone.
Like when you guys video The Office, it just shows like this is a connectable or a relatable situation.
I like those videos a lot too. Authentic. You just it's more authentic. Yeah.
And then you throw in a video that's edited or scripted or whatever it might be, and then you have like this mix of things. It's like, okay, so you guys actually do this all the time,
right?
You do have a behind the scenes. This is how we get here. This is what we're gonna do, and then they can kind of see it all put together. Right?
Exactly. No, I just think that there's no excuse in this day and age. I mean, we're almost at 2026. If you really want to build your business, your brand, whatever you're doing, you got to be out there.
Yeah.
I mean, now with AI, there's really no excuse, because literally you can go, even if you have a team, you can go to ChatGPT and it can write fucking posts for you. It can do all this stuff. And ChatGPT is, from what I'm told, is just scratching the surface. I've kind of finally mastered that one, but I know there's some better ones out there. There's a lot of other tools. I mean, by the way, would you guys get one of the Tesla robots for your house or for your job site, or what do you think? We might be a number of years still off from that.
What do you think?
They're making some pretty big advancements in that.
Brother,
technology.
laundry and dishes. Let's go.
Dude, 100%. I don't see a reason not to.
That's true.
I always told Morgan, I was like, when we get rich.
And vacuuming.
I'm like, when we get rich, I want to have a butler. And she's just like, I don't want fucking someone walking around my house. And I'm like, I don't care if they're going to take care of
now
shit.
It's gonna
but
be
now
a
we
robot.
can just get the robot. And she was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good, actually. She's like, the fucking thing plugs itself in and does all the work and whatever,
I mean, I don't have kids, but I hear an au pair is kind of a life hack too.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
$1,000.
That's got to go down. Yeah, I don't have one of those. We're paying a lot for a nanny right now. I'm thinking an au pair might either the au pair or the Tesla robot. One of those is going to have to happen.
Or both.
That's
literally.
True.
Maybe a Tesla robot au pair,
Now you've scaled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, okay, one thing I want to ask you about, because I know that we're coming almost to the new year. What are you doing to plan for 2026? Have you already done it? Do you have a formal business plan? Is that part of what you're doing with the seven-figure club?
Yeah,
Seven
seven-figure creators.
seven-figure creators. How are you? What? I guess what tips would you have for somebody that's watching this? It's like,
Yeah.
fuck, this is running up on the New Year's. I'm gonna be having eggnog and whiskey and fucking around for the next couple
Eggnog.
weeks and
Oh, I love
whatever.
that
And,
stuff.
and before you know it, it's gonna be the second week of January, and it's like, how should people start preparing to hit the ground running? And what are some tips to plan for a successful year?
Right now, what I'm doing is I'm reevaluating everything that we've done all year, right? Not only in the books,
Nice.
in the company, our pain points.
I like
And I've
that.
actually taken a break from social media, from everything,
Yeah,
to
really
dive
do a
into
deep
my
dive.
own company to see where we've really done well and where we need to focus on. And it's okay. I don't care that I'm taking an absence from everything, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to focus on it with my team. And I've brought everybody in, the guys in the field, and like we're really just kind of going through everything to see what we need to do. We're making a full strategy on everything that needs to happen in 2026, starting January 1st. I mean, we're going to implement it before then, and getting people squared away. I mean, down to virtual assistants, to videographers. So that way, everything has got the best approach moving forward, because the
Nice.
holidays shut everything down for construction,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like
real estate,
yeah.
construction, all that. Yeah,
From Thanksgiving really to New Year's is just kind of like dragging your teeth.
yeah.
So for us, this is like the best time to really just focus on everything and spend some time in the books.
Very cool.
and really understand
Very
it
cool.
and throw it all in.
I think it's so important, man,
Yeah.
because you got to get ahead of it. I mean, we're already
Yeah.
basically living in 2026, right? Like it's already, you got to be mentally ready for that, because if not, it's you literally will turn around and it'll be March. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the time fucking flies so fast these days. But
Yeah.
how do you? One more thing I want to ask you about is, how do you manage your time? Because what I've found in terms of being an entrepreneur, running a business, and I always tell Greg, our most valuable commodity is our time.
Yeah.
Again, very cliche thing to say, but dude, I mean, like, it's just what it is. And like, there's so many things, back to like the idea of like saying yes to everything, right? And the power of maybe saying no once in a while. But if you're not careful, and if you're an entrepreneur running a business, you're not careful, all of a sudden you get, even after working 10, 12 hours in a day, your to-do list like doubled, and you find yourself going through the weeks and months, and you're like, man, am I putting my time in the right places? Should I be focusing on growing the business, or bringing in new deals, or being at the jobs, or working with the investors? Even if you have a team, there's so many things that sometimes you turn around, you're like, man, I should have delegated this, or I should have done something differently. Like, how do you personally deal with time management? Because I feel like it's such an important, aspect of running a business or businesses.
So I think one of the things, so I struggle with ADHD, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people
You're in the right group here then.
Yeah. So like, and that's to say, like, as a newer business owner within the last 5 to 7 years, it really is something that you didn't necessarily get hyper focused on.
Yeah.
And so what I call is bumpers. I build out bumpers throughout my life, because
Greg
once I
uses
get
that term, but
yeah.
he's a whole different way.
Yeah.
His past life.
Nick's going
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to the tugboat days.
Yeah, yeah.
Bumpers.
Yeah, so like with bumpers, I build these things when I get derailed to kind of help me get back on track. So I use Google Calendar a lot, right? So I use color coding, but it doesn't always work. I've got to like write things down. I have Google Calendar. We use Asana, right?
Okay.
So there's
you're checking that stuff every day, and you
Yeah.
kind of work off of a calendar. So
Yeah,
you
and
schedule your calls and your meetings.
You're tasking everything and
Yeah.
putting everything on a.
And usually in the afternoon, I'm not available, right?
Yeah.
So like I try to focus. So the morning is so heavily focused with the crew, right?
Right.
And usually in the afternoon, I try to then focus on whatever it is that needs to be done in the business, and compound those things in the afternoon, because otherwise the day just runs away.
gets
That's
away
kind
from
of
you.
so it's almost like a
Yeah.
time blocking, where the
The time
earlier part of the
blocking.
day is those
Yeah.
construction drill, 911s and all the stuff, and then the latter part of the day you can actually work on the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important, because back to the idea that you're always like, going crazy with construction projects, right? There's always another fire, another random thing. That's where I struggle, right? Because I could plan my whole week out and get a call, and there's some immediate big issue that now we got to start taking meetings and talking to engineers and flying up to Sacramento or whatever. And so I always tell everybody, because when people try to like schedule every call on Zoom with me, I'm like, guys, listen, we can plan on something like a podcast. We knew we were doing this today.
Yeah.
That's a hard schedule. But like, if someone's just going to call me to talk about something or whatever, I'm usually a little bit more old school in the sense where I'm like, listen, just call me. If I miss it, then text me and we'll get on the phone. But or here's generally when I'm available, because that is the challenge in construction and development specifically, is that your schedule just constantly goes out the window. But I think that what you're saying, as far as kind of trying to time block some of your day, makes total sense.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to get
Yeah,
better
you
at.
have
But
to.
and we've started doing some of that, but it's
It's-
critical because as you grow, if you're not careful, dude, you're just like, where the hell
The
did
day
my
will
time
get away
go?
from you.
Yeah.
You'll take a
Especially
call.
if Greg shows up at the office
To
at
go-
11 a.m. and then wants to leave at like 3, and I'm like, where the hell is Greg?
Brandon,
I'm like,
you're
what is
giving
going on?
everybody
over
the
here?
wrong impression.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyway,
no, it's the right
no.
impression, but
Aerobics
no,
ran late.
Greg works. Yeah.
No, but your day gets away from you. If
Yeah.
you take a call and you're next thing you know, it's 11:30 and you started that call at 9 or something. Yeah.
I think construction is one of the hardest things to scale. And whether you are an investment company, you're still kind of a contractor,
Yeah.
right? In a way, you're dealing with the construction every single day. So in order to like manage your time, you're going to realize that a lot of the shit that you scheduled is getting canceled.
Yeah.
Because what shows up needs to be handled pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so that's like why the bumpers kind of exist, is to help with some of that stuff, because it is reality that I'm going to get a phone call in the afternoon and I need to handle it. And it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And just finding ways to kind of focus the track, right?
Yeah. That's key, man. Hey, so you think interest rates are going to keep coming down? What do you think? What are we going to see next
They
year?
better.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I'm
They've
all
been- they've
for
been
it.
clicking down a little bit. But what do you think?
Yeah.
I'm all for interest rates coming down. I think they're going to come down a little bit. I mean, we also have to understand, like, FHA in the 5s and 6s relatively over the average, right?
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, the deal shouldn't pencil just on an interest rate, but
Yeah.
I would love to see them come down a little bit. If
Yeah.
we see them around 2%, we better watch out.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Banks are in
maybe-
fucking trouble.
Maybe
Yeah.
a happy medium
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. So, listen, man. I mean, I know we're running on time here. Really appreciate you coming down today. I want to make sure that we can drop, and we'll drop all your socials and all your stuff. But where can people find you? Are you open for business if they want to hire you for a construction project? If they want to invest with you or partner with you on something,
Yeah,
like how does that all work?
Yep.
Yeah, so at NL Rossi is the social media for,
Okay.
for Instagram. Rossi Development Inc. is the company. And
Dude, I
we're
love that
open to
name, by the way.
projects.
That's a
Thank you.
great
But-
Italian name.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel
Well-
like it should be like a sports car or something, But yeah. So
I
NL
agree,
Rossi.
actually. I
Yeah.
think it should.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so they can go to your website and they book
Mhm.
time with you. And then
Yeah.
are you actively looking for partners and investors on deals right now?
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking for ground up development projects, and in that, we're
Mm.
always looking for investors that want to come in and join with us as an LP.
In just San Diego? Or-
Yeah, right now we're focusing in San Diego.
Well, I love that, man. You're
Yeah.
super focused, super driven. I mean,
Yeah.
you obviously know the construction side of it, vertically integrated. So, I mean, I think
Everything.
if someone's looking to invest some money and they want to get
Yeah.
involved in some badass projects, I think they got to,
This
if they're
guy
not
right
calling
here.
us, because, we're raising a little bit of money too, but we do sort of some different things. But I think if they're looking to do some of what you're doing, they got to give you a call because,
Yeah.
listen, you know your shit, bro.
You know your shit. You
I
got
can tell by the way you speak and how detailed you are about the construction. I'm like, yeah, Nick knows his
tons,
shit.
tons of experience. I feel like Nick should have gray hair, not me.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I do. It's,
It's
just
coming.
covered up by the
It's
red.
coming.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Well,
Yeah, that was
listen,
great.
Listen, guys, we'll drop all his socials and everything in here. Dude, this has been a great episode. Appreciate you
thank
coming
you
up to
for having me on.
Hollywood. And that's a wrap on another episode of the
Nick.
High Stakes
Thank you.
Deals
Thank you.
podcast. Let's go.
Hey.